false. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication.
Hi guys, so I finally watched that Floyd live stream where he talked about being robbed in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and now I am 100% convinced that it never happened. He didn't get robbed. I actually thought in the live he was telling a story of a robbery that happened a few days earlier. So, but he actually was talking about a robbery that happened 20 minutes earlier.
You got to give me a minute to tell the story. This just happened. This literally happened 20 minutes ago.
So you got robbed 20 minutes ago and you are now on live talking about it. I'm like, no, it doesn't make sense. But you know what? People react to stressful situations, to trauma differently. Maybe, being on live talking to his friends, his subscribers is how he deals with, the trauma of almost losing his life. But the thing is, the description, the detail he gave, the lack of detail actually, like he actually gave very, very little detail. He said that, these five guys came up to him and they were wielding knives and they asked him for dinero and, they took his money or he gave them his money and that's it. And he said they might be high on drugs or something. And I'm like, that is it. That's all the detail you're gonna give. And the detail, like the way he described the man, is so stereotypical, right? Like homeless looking, high on drugs. It's almost like he watched too much crime movies.
5 dudes approached me, and in the moment, it's like you you freeze up, and they were homeless looking, and they were like dinero, 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 like they wanted money, and they looked like they were on drugs. They're like drug addicts.
So the lack of detail and the stereotypical way he described the thieves, I'm like making me go like, this doesn't sound true. It doesn't sound like this thing really happened. But you know what? Maybe he was in a shock. Knives being pointed at him by five the guys. Probably that's so traumatic. He his brain shut down and he couldn't pay attention to what was going on. Maybe he was not able to pay attention to details. So yeah, I'm like, okay, maybe that's an explanation for why his story lacks details. But here is the thing: this guy says he got robbed, right? But he spent most of the live talking about how other people are going to criticize him. Like he actually almost opened the live talking about how other people are going to criticize him, how other people are going to attack him. By other people, I mean people on YouTubers like me. I'm like, why would, if you were really, really robbed, and not only were you were robbed at knife point, which means, your life was in danger, and it happened 20 minutes ago, and your main concern, your main focus is on how people like me who regularly criticize you on YouTube would react.
I know that some of y'all are excited about this development. It could happen, and they don't like me. And I got robbed. Ha ha ha! That's what they want to do. They want to laugh in my face. I got a lot of trolls on this channel, people who don't like me, people who make videos, and they're gonna make videos about this. They're gonna make videos about this. It's already gonna happen.
You are worried about what people like me would say about the robbery? Does that sound like something someone who was just robbed, who almost lost their life, would be focusing on 20 minutes after going through such a traumatic experience. I'm like, this doesn't sound, I mean, no, it doesn't sound real. It doesn't sound that like, what you described, the robbery you described happened. It doesn't sound like, you were really robbed. But you know what? It's not just his behavior, right? His behavior after the event that is making people like me doubt the whole story. It's also what the thieves did, right? Because the thieves took $120 in cash but left his iPhone alone. And why is that strange? One, iPhone, he's going to be holding it in his hand, right? So it's easy to snatch the iPhone than it is to get to the cash in his pocket. And the other thing is they let him keep his expensive iPhone. The iPhone they didn't steal is worth more than $120. Mind you, iPhones are expensive here in America, but in Brazil they are even more expensive. One passport bro was actually saying that iPhones are so expensive in Brazil, it's actually cheaper to fly to America, buy the iPhone here, and then go back to Brazil. It is cheaper to do that than to buy iPhone in Brazil. So why would these thieves, five thieves, mind you, would let him keep his iPhone but steal $120? I mean, if it was one person, holding him up, it makes sense. Maybe he doesn't have time to to get to everything. But there were five of them, so one could snatch the money, the other could snatch the iPhone. So it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't add up. And one of his own subscribers during the live made this challenge. Like he's like, why would they take your money but not the iPhone? And when that person posted that comment, guess what Floyd does? He bans that person. He tells one of his mods to ban that person.
Anybody, and here's the thing, if anybody's saying this is fake, ban them. I'm venting. So if you want to think it's fake, go ahead. But you will be banned. It's that simple. Because I don't care if you're a member of this channel. I don't care if you've been a subscriber. I don't care what you've done. You're automatically banned.
He actually says that anyone who points out inconsistencies in his stories would be banned. And I'm like, that's actually like, when I went from like being like 80% not believing his story to almost 90%. Because why are you banning people for, making rational challenges to your stories? They are not just calling you, a liar, a liar. They are pointing out inconsistencies. And if the story you were telling was the truth, you could, explain what seems to be inconsistencies, what seems to be gaps in your stories, right? So his reaction to being challenged made me like, realize he's not telling the truth. But it's not just his reaction during the live, but also what he did. Two comments left challenging his story. There were two comments. One was this comment, and the other was this comment that were left, on the comment section challenging his story. Guess what? These two comments are deleted. He deleted them. Why are you deleting comments? If what you are telling is the truth, why are you so scared of being challenged? And mind you, this is a guy who allows people to say all kinds of things about him, about how gross he is. He must stink. His feet must stink. That's why the cat was smelling him. I mean, he allows people to say all kinds of nasty things about him, and he leaves those comments up, but he deletes these two. And these comments are, just challenging his story, but he deletes them. One thing that made me chuckle a little bit was, I think that his audience were like, "How come you're not shocked? How come you don't have, emotions?" They kept saying that to him over and over. So he finally said that, "I'm going to, to go off the camera and just, be on audio only because I am about to cry." And I'm like, why would you need to be, off camera to cry? I mean, if you are on audio, people could still tell you are crying if you are really crying, right? I'm like, it doesn't really make sense. But here is the thing. If this story is not true, why did he make up this story? And I think it's the new grift because the Passport Bro content makers, they were planning to grift by bringing on beautiful women to their shows and selling the dream to their audience, but that didn't work because beautiful girls all over the world are refusing to be on the Passport Bros shows. So Passport Bro content makers cannot make money by bringing beautiful foreign women, so they have come up with a new grift. And the new grift is to say that you are kidnapped, you are robbed, you are drugged, and that helps you in two ways. In one way, when you say you are drugged or you are kidnapped or you're robbed, and that you don't have money, your subscribers, your viewers will send you money. Another way is videos talking about being robbed, being kidnapped, being dragged, usually get a lot of views. There are actually Passport Bro channels which are getting thousands and thousands of views, talking about nothing but how Passport Bros are being dragged, how Passport Bros are being robbed in this country, in that country. Like, that's the only thing they talk about day in and day out, and they get a lot of views. So, and I think that is what Floyd was going for. I don't think he was going for the money part. I think he was going for the viewership part, and because he kept on saying I'm not begging for money and I'm not begging for money.
I haven't asked for anything. I haven't asked for any money. I've asked for nothing. I'm telling you my story. I'm venting. I'm getting it out. I asked for nothing. Literally, not a single dime from anybody.
And I don't think he was begging for money. I think he was trying to get views for his show. And I don't think it worked because people were challenging his stories in real time. His own viewers were challenging his stories. So it didn't work for him because when other people talk about, being dragged and, being kidnapped, I mean, there is this guy, he is in Colombia, who said, he has been dragged by this girl, by that girl. I mean, he is being dragged and kidnapped and robbed almost every other day, and people still believe his story because I think the way he tells it, it's kind of believable. I don't really believe it, but it's believable to a lot of people. But that's not the same with Floyd. When you watch the live video, the body language tells you that he was not telling, a story, what really happened. And even the way he told the story, I mean, it was all over the place. He started from, how people are going to react, and then he told the story, and then he went, like, it was all over the place. It was not organized. He was not telling it, chronologically. And so it was hard to follow. And he like, when you look at him, the body language, I mean, you don't even have to be body language expert to realize that this guy is not comfortable with whatever story he's telling. So yeah, I don't think it worked out for him. And he realized it didn't work out for him because today, which is, he did the live yesterday, right? He had another live today, and he barely mentioned the robbery because he probably realized that people are not buying his story, so he's now like moving on as if nothing happened. Because when other passport bros, when they tell a story of being robbed and drugged and whatever, they tell that story over and over, like that will be the only story they will tell for like a whole week. But with Floyd, I think he realized people are not buying his story, so he is trying to move past the story. And that tells you that the story didn't hit the way he wanted it to hit. Compare that to how he talked about the Argentina story, the Argentina story of the Argentinian girl running away from him.
So I'm here. I'm like, I walk up. I say hola. I wave. I don't have my phone in my hand because I'm talking to this woman, right? So the first thing I do is say hola, ¿cómo está? Muy bien. I speak Spanish. And she's talking for a little bit. And I'm like, hello, can I get your number? I don't know how to say number in Spanish, so I said, can I get your number? And then she didn't say that. So I went in, I went like this. I pulled my phone out to get her number, right? I literally pulled my phone out to get her number, and then
he told that story over and over and over. I mean, he told it for almost like a whole 2 weeks. But this robbery, which is actually a much bigger, significant event than, a girl in Argentina running away from him, he has already moved on from, he's not mentioning it that much any longer. So I'm like, okay, Anyway, that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Thank you. Bye-bye.